guys, welcome to Clockwork Noodles for another breakdown of Undead Girl Murder Farce, episode 8. This was amazing. My jaw was on the floor all the way through this episode. There's a lot of really good stuff going on. I really can't wait to break it down with you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is becoming one of my favourite mysteries of the anime season. I'm really enjoying it. Really enjoyed this week's episode thoroughly. It one-upped last week's episode. That just means it's getting better because I said last week it was my favourite episode and this week as well. That resolve at the end honestly really felt deserved. Very excited to break it down with you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys are subscribed. Very shortly now we're going to have the overview for the next season. I have 3 animes I'm breaking down on the channels. Tune in and check out what I'm breaking down. I'm also going to go through what's coming your way, and there's also going to be my end of season review. Now I've got some very good news for you guys. I am going to be in Madrid at the end of next month. I have been selected for ICL, which is the International Cosplay Leagues, representing the UK over there. It does mean that it's probably going to bump the last week reviews maybe about 5 days. Once I have a look at the proper scheduling, I will put it up on the channel and give you guys an update at some point. If you guys are in Madrid and you're going to be at Japan Weekend, you might get the chance to see me perform. Let's get straight to episode number 8 because there's so much good stuff going on this episode and I really want to discuss it. There's so many different little encounters and the way that they transition between all of them was really, really good. You really did get that sinking feeling with every single encounter because it did not look like it was going well in the slightest. I still would have called it a win for Moriarty until I saw the resolve at the end. The Phantom sequence got me very, very excited. She's like, I can't see him, but I know he's there. Pretty much a rip from Phantom of the Opera. I can't see him, but he's always there inside my head, which is really, really nice. I told you guys last week I was very worried that he had passed away and was probably the first to be offed. Extreme differences between this group. These are the real villains. They're not messing around. It's not just a gentleman thief, which is Arsene Lupin, organisation who mean business. We do get to see the vampire healing in action and it's just as creepy as I expected. The music at this point, it's a horn and it's playing very chaotic scales because the scene unfolding on our screen is just chaotic. The violin then gets to staccato when it goes really, really short little notes as the scene starts to change and the aphrodisiac qualities of the vampire venom seen on the screen. Often enough, if you're playing an otome game, the vampire boys have the aphrodisiac effect. I was expecting this, but sadly it's on our girl Shizuka, who I do think if that flare hadn't gone off when it did, she would have been dead. Transition between Sherlock and Watson's little fight. I do love the way that these guys are portrayed. I think it is a solid portrayal when it comes to these guys. The transition is nice. Crowley really has just got the most flashiest actions, the animations, magic in action. Oddly enough, it did seem that Sherlock and Watson actually had Crowley on his heels. Out of all of the encounters, they do seem to have the better luck. They managed to get him in the face. I would have considered that a win for Sherlock and Watson. Very nice to see these working together. I did actually really like the moment when Crowley was talking to Aya because he seemed genuinely interested in her. He did give us the hint that he probably has got Aya's body in the collection. It was a nice moment because he actually seemed interested and he was quite calm and warm with her, which is nice because she's as weird and wonderful as he probably would love it. So she's right up his street. We get a nice little fan moment for all the Sherlock Holmes fans in the audience because we get a timeline event. So we work out exactly where we're taking place in the grand scheme of the Sherlock Holmes timeline. We've had the Reichenbach Falls 8 years ago, which is where we see the last of Moriarty. Moriarty vanished, presumed dead, and he's obviously not dead. But it is a very nice moment because you do get another little kind of fanboy, fangirl moment. The music at this point is really, really nice. It starts to get really, really serious. The musical cue that then transitions us is a trilling violin. We get Phantom being reunited with Arsene, and that's obviously when it gets bad to worse, and we are introduced to Jack the Ripper, really living up to his name, how brutal he really is. Gentleman is going to become the ultimate killing machine because he's trying to get every type of monster DNA within his blood to literally be, I guess, the most powerful thing on the planet. I initially did think he was an Oni. I think there is part Oni in there. The reason why I thought he was similar to Suguru is because, well, they have the same maker. They have the same genes. They were part of the same experiments. Very scary moment because we get to see one of the Royce team members ended. We do get to see the ugly side of the plot. Moriarty giving us his plan. Nice of him to sit and chat. We do get to see his deduction skills and they are pretty much on point with Sherlock. He's meant to go toe to toe with Sherlock. He is a very smart man. Deduce information about Aya's assistants. Obviously, that's when we find out that he still got Aya's body. He wasn't the one who technically made Aya immortal. So she was immortal to begin with. We knew she had lived 950 years, but it was the person who had done that to her did such a job that Moriarty himself, who was trying to create the ultimate monster, was just thoroughly impressed. He couldn't figure it out. It was beyond his understanding, which makes you go, who the hell is smarter than Moriarty, Sherlock Holmes? Somebody was so smart that it has literally stumped him. The fight, Jack versus Suguru, I love it. The stakes are really high. It was fast, it was quick, downward spiral feel to it. Everything felt like it was falling apart. Everything felt like there was no control, but obviously that is meant to be the point. The Royce girl's heart is used as a distraction. Suguru not holding back. He has to do what he has to do in this fight because Jack is serious. Jack is a real force to be reckoned with. There were a lot of times when I thought Jack was winning. I guess that's how he technically just leaves him alive, because he presumes that he's won and that he's just not worth killing, which is lucky for Suguru. We learn about those inhumane experiments that Moriarty has been performing. We get some more birdcage symbology, which is something that is throughout this show when it comes to symbology. The idea that somebody is always trapped. We had these people who were trapped and forced to participate against their wills in these horrible experiments that Moriarty was doing. Darker nature of the plot really rearing its head. You guys know me, I have sat through many an anime with dark plots. Very happy to see a darker plot appear because it shows some depth to the show, and I know that this show can be very goofy at times, but it also is showing you how serious the show can get. So I'm loving the fact that it can pull off both serious and goofy. Jack was created by the same man who also created Suguru. Moriarty has created Jack as he is, the person he is now. He's been putting all of these DNA splices into him to create something insane. Aya's body, because she was obviously immortal, has been a great help with his experiments. Can't be that far in if he can't figure her body out because it's beyond him. So we might have that to hopefully slow him down with his progress, because I'm guessing if Jack gets hold of Aya's genes, he's going to be pretty much unstoppable. It would seem that he's trying to create this ultimate being who has all of the attributes of all of these monsters, figures from folklore, and he's trying to get all of those attributes and put them inside him. So he, obviously a vampire who can withstand silver, that type of thing. During this fight, that Suguru was really looking beat. It really felt like he'd found his match, even though we had the resolve at the end, and I think he got through with sheer luck on that point. It does seem that Suguru and him, they might be roughly even, but if Jack gets more DNA, I don't think they're going to be even for very long. So we need to act fast. We probably need to up our game. He does leave Suguru alive, which is actually what works in our favour. Very happy that he was left alive. But again, it's sad because it did feel like it was just, this is it. It's done. The defeat is over. You have lost. It's the second time we've seen Suguru feigning at losing, which I think is really, really cool. Shizuka, I really think you would have been dead if it wasn't for that flare last minute, because she literally collapses as the flare goes up. If that flare had gone up, say, a minute later, I don't think she would have walked out of that fight. But it is a very scary fight. I love the way that she's very last minute able to pull a move on her. We get a nice burn. Literally, the burn is being handled by someone who's got more experience, which is Aya. Aya's got 950 years of experience. Moriarty gives us his team name, which is Banquet. I guess it's a banquet of monsters and beings and outcasts all together. It would seem that they're going to be a permanent pain in the rear when it comes to this show, which is great because you're only as good as your villain. These guys are going to have a rough time. It's going to feel even better when we actually conquer it once and for all. Shizuka definitely got lucky at the end. I don't think she would have survived, which is sad because I think she's a really cool character. She did do very well at holding her own. This is going to be a great experience anyway. Everyone's lived to tell the tale. It's nice to see Sherlock actually praising Lupin right at the end, which is really nice. It lightens the mood. This end section starts to lighten the mood, which is really nice. At that point, I was feeling quite down. I was like, okay, you've lost everything. The diamond is gone. I was really sad. It felt like Moriarty had got the right win. That's when the mood started to go up. And Aya then does the forgetful face and she goes, "Geh," which is really, really cute. She's like, oh, I must have forgotten to put the safe back. I think the safe has been taken by arson, so he stole something, which I guess works out. But it's a really nice moment to see a goofy side from Aya. And again, it lightens the mood. You're like, okay, they're really trying their best to make you feel a little bit better. You know, lift your spirits a little bit. It's not all bad. And then the twist happens. I wasn't expecting it. I had pretty much committed to the idea that Jack had it. As soon as we see Jack staring, and then there's silence, and everyone's looking at him, and you can see his face starting to contort, and you're like, wait, what's going on? His hands coming out the other side of the pocket was absolutely amazing. That was definitely a thought through move, but obviously everything Suguru did was to put himself on the lower foot, because I guess he wanted to appear not as a threat. He's not going to bother trying to kill me if I'm not a threat, and I get away with that. I think he lunges at him in the mist, and that's when the heart is used. Lunges at him. It's probably right back then is when he got it down his sleeve, which is a nice bit of magic there. This show, I am gonna this little clap. That doesn't even sound like a little clap. That's me doing a clap because I'm one-handed right now. Pulling that twist off has really made me go, okay, this show is in the running, and I'm definitely going to have to, at some point, get my awards sorted. There's awards coming out of my ears right now. I can't wait to actually give some out. This show is getting some awards. You know I'm going to be putting this on my award list. I can't wait to show you guys my awards. They're always so fun to announce. Suguru pulling that act, and Aya's response, just praising him, like, what am I actually going to do with you? Love that. And then, of course, Aya cracking the code because I can't be upstaged by Suguru. We're heading to a new destination, the Forest of Fangs. That is obviously where our next location is going to be. Actually hoping it means that we are permanently paired up with Watson and Sherlock for a little bit, because honestly thought the guys in that room were a nice little team. I would have liked Arsene and Eric involved somehow, but I don't think it's going to be the last of them that we see. I think they'll come back at some point. I think they're going to be anti-heroes. I think that works for Phantom, and I think it really works for someone like a Gentleman Thief. You could be an anti-hero. There is a villain bigger than you who is actually awful. You guys can do the right thing for a little bit. I really hope these guys get together, because it is feeling very League of Gentlemen-ish. Obviously, Moriarty's got his own little league going on, but it feels like we're coming up with the Avengers. It's time to go back. We're going to have to conquer them, and everybody's got their own abilities. People are very smart. Really well written episode. I loved it. I thought that payoff was amazing. Fantastic episode. I really loved it. I hope you guys also appreciate the episode, because it's not every day that they manage to do a 180 on you, and you think that they are 100% have lost, and they've actually come up top trumps. I can't wait to see what happens next week. We've only got 4 episodes left, so I'm going to be very sad. I think we're going to end on maybe a cliffhanger, but that does mean that we're probably going to have some more of this show coming our way at some point, and I really hope that's the case. I'm hooked. I am 100% hooked. You have sold me on this show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys again next week. I will get back to you with dates so we know what the end of my scheduling is going to look like. Very excited to be heading to Madrid to represent the UK for the 3rd time, and I will see you guys again soon. Bye, guys.